All right, we're on.
Most excellent. All right, we good? We good? Keeping an eye on the YouTube channel to make sure things pop up correctly. Excellent work. But yeah, dude, Double Cross. We haven't gotten any word about that, so I don't know if it's still coming out in March or not. I hope it is.
I I haven't seen it. Like they've shown off like all that they want to show off, I think. So I wouldn't be
Mhm.
surprised if the game still comes out in March, but if not, then I can wait, to be
Like
honest.
the only thing I ask is that it comes out on Switch, which I think Pro Jared brought up in that interview with Reggie Fils-Aimé a few weeks ago, right?
Yeah, and like everybody that's had a chance to talk to the Monster Hunter team uh
Telling
at
him
like
bring
events.
it.
Yeah, like bring it to Switch and they're always just like winky face.
May
We
just maybe
we
just the Capcom winky maybe.
we can't say anything officially. Wink wink nudge nudge.
Like don't do crap like that if it's not coming to the Switch. Don't give me false hope.
Yeah,
Don't
I
do
know. I
stuff
hate
like
stuff like
that.
that.
Cuz
Uh,
like Monster Hunter is of course one of our favorite franchises. And we've played pretty much every single one, Japanese and US release. Since Try, I think I've pretty much played every single Monster Hunter game in existence except the Xbox one. Say
mhm.
Monster Hunter Online, and even then, now that's been brought. Now that's been brought full on to PC, and I've played a little bit of that on there. You know, braving through the wilderness of Chinese malware to get it running correctly.
Is it worth giving it another try? Like,
Um,
cause I will do it. I'll do it. Like it'll come at great personal loss, but I will try again. Damn you, Tencent. Damn you, I will play your game.
like you got to be careful on that install, man. You got to be careful with the with pressing the buttons.
Well,
But you know, it's pretty
I'm
good.
gonna ask for a babysitter next time I do that.
Okay. I mean, you can play it with an Xbox controller, so you know it's pretty good. Um, like functionally, I still think Generations and Four are better games, but you know, it's online Monster Hunter. It's what we always wanted,
hmm
and I really want to see Double Cross come back. I'm really excited for it to come back because I want another Monster Hunter title that's portable, like the 3DS variants. But I also want it to have console capabilities. You know, like 3 Ultimate. I want it to look like a console game, even though, you know, the graphics in 3 Ultimate were very simplistic. They were extreme. You could tell it was basically it was a game that had almost complete parity with a 3DS title, just cleaned up graphics. But I don't care. I don't care at all. I just want my Monster Hunter game.
Yep, we're gonna get it. It's gonna happen.
It's
I
gonna
think
happen.
I think the next Monster Hunter is gonna be like a blockbuster.
You think so?
It's gotta be. Like, they put so
Yeah.
much love and care into Try, and it's been, like, what, 3 games since then? We've had, Portable third, we've had, 4, and For You, and, Cross/Generations.
Yep.
It's time. Just give us our big blockbuster Monster Hunter.
I I mean, here's hoping, man. Like I really wish I really wish that's going to be the case. And like you said, there's been a lot of hints for it from Capcom over the past couple of days, or not days, but past couple of weeks. And I just hope it leads off into something, man, because the Switch is right around the corner. We are literally less than a month away from the launch of the Nintendo Switch. I am very excited about that. Soon, Breath of the Wild will be in my hands, and I could not have it soon enough. And you know, we need some other launch titles. And I want Double Cross to be one of them. But if that's going to be the case, they're gonna have to announce it real soon.
I hope so, man.
Yeah, seriously.
Also,
But all
Monster Hunter
right,
Stories. Do it!
that one too. Yeah, there's another one that we're we're still waiting on, aren't we? Rip. You know, we can't have some of those. But anyways, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to End of the Week Podcast, episode 33. Today is what is it? February 4th, I want to say. 4th
February
February.
4th.
We're literally about a month away from the launch of the Nintendo Switch, and we've got ourselves a pretty good show for you guys today. Oh man, Nate, how you doing, buddy?
I am doing great. Been doing a bunch of streaming. It's just been awesome. How about you, man?
You you have been doing a bunch of streaming, and I've been enjoying that. Keep doing a bunch of streaming. Better keep that up. I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. You know, we got the Super Bowl tomorrow. Going to be watching that. Going to be eating a lot of food while watching that, and probably playing a lot of video games. So you know, the usual. I eat too much and play too much video games. Nothing's changed. John, what's up, man?
Not much. Can't complain. Just been big chilling.
You still over there stroking your Falcons hat? I know you have one. You can't lie to me, boy. I know it's there.
We don't like to talk about that.
It's really like I don't have a piece of Falcons gear.
How heretical.
I'm a Steelers fan. What do you mean?
I got you, but I know you got that secret Georgia gear there. It's somewhere in your house. There is a piece of gear with a falcon on it, and it's been getting stroked because you need to take down the Pats.
It's not mine.
You guys it is yours. It's in it's in your house. What do you mean it's not yours?
I'm holding it for a friend. It's not mine.
It's not mine. I swear. It's. But all right, we're going to start things off as usual, talking a bit about some of the games we've been playing this week. It's actually been like kind of a slow week for gaming news, but a pretty busy week for video games themselves, at least for me. You guys been playing anything new?
Not new per se, but I am playing Mercenary Kings on my channel with one of my mods, Prometheus.
Yeah.
In lieu of Monster Hunter. Unfortunately, my capture unit's on a bit of a fritz right now. So, but we played last night. We just played like 5 straight hours of Mercenary Kings, and it was an absolute blast. So that's gonna be a thing.
Now Mercenary Kings, that's kind of like almost the dungeon crawler or sort of. I'm trying to think of the game that it's like, almost like a Binding of Isaac light, isn't it?
It's a 2D Contra-like, mixed with elements of Monster Hunter and I want to say kind of like Gunstar Heroes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it right now.
You build up weapons based on so it's got like a Monster Hunter 3, not 3U, but Tri bowgun system where you build like your stock, your barrel, your clip, things like that, and mashing them all together makes this amalgamation of a gun, and then you end up with like a shotgun or a machine gun or a rifle or whatever, and you get like all kinds of cool different bullets. Like my mod Prometheus, he plays like a really powerful shotgun that he made out of a French horn, and I'm playing like a sniper rifle that fires piercing electric rounds. And you just go out and you collect mats and you bring them back and you make bigger, cooler weapons. I guess it's got a little bit of Borderlands in the way that it's just like big guns, drop loot, kill lots of bad guys. Yeah, and it's 2D. It's a lot of fun.
So yeah, kind of like a Contra light, almost sort of Broforce sort of game.
Yeah,
a lot of heavy customization. That's pretty cool.
Also, Prometheus is pointing out that it was a trombone, not a French horn. I'm sorry.
Important distinction there, huh?
Yes.
Right on, man.
But if I can take one more second to talk about what I've been playing, I've also been playing Dragon Quest 8. I want to say this, the new one that just came in on 3DS, Journey of the Cursed King.
Yep, that's Dragon Quest 8.
Yeah,
Dragon Quest 8 is my favorite of all time.
That's great. One of the best RPGs ever made.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. Like, all the characters are really animated, and I think this might be actually the best use of Akira Toriyama's style on 3D models.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if Dragon Ball games are any indication, his style is not easy to translate into 3D.
No, it's not.
At all. And this game does it flawlessly. So, kudos on that end. I gotta ask, is there I did no research before I made this purchase. Probably should have. Is there a class system in this? Like, am I eventually gonna unlock classes for my characters?
I do believe there is. It's not like Dragon Quest 7, where it took like 30 hours before you can get to changing anything. I want to say there is. Actually, maybe there isn't. Maybe it's set classes in 8. It's been a while since I've played it.
So far, it's just been stat allocation. Like, you can put points into using.
You know what?
different
Yeah, I was gonna
weapons.
say it was the skill point for weapons thing that replaced the class system from like 7 and whatnot in 8.
Okay. I would have preferred a class system, but whatever. I
Mm-hmm.
bravely default style where you can like swap them out. But yeah, been playing that. It's a blast. I've only put about probably like 10 hours into it, maybe not even. And going great.
Right. Make sure you get Jessica's sex appeal up to 100.
Oh yeah.
Winky face.
That's your one goal for that game. Come back to me when you do. All right, on. So Mercenary Kings and Dragon Quest VIII. Those are 2 games that'll definitely keep you busy for quite some time, man. I'm glad you're enjoying them.
Thank you.
Right on. John, you been up to anything, man?
I did it again.
You
I went
played with
back
someone's
to
heart?
no. I went back to old reliable.
Uh-huh.
Never lets me down.
Destiny?
No, no. That game consistently lets me down.
Rip.
I went back and I played Borderlands 2. And I've been playing Borderlands 2 for the past 3 weeks. Almost every single day, putting in at least 2 to 3 hours. Story goes, I bought my friend Andrew a PS4 Slim since he doesn't he doesn't come from a very privileged background. So I wanted to be nice and give him something for like Christmas, since he's been playing on the same 360 for 7 years now.
Yeah, he has. Since I used to play with him.
Yeah. So I wanted to get him something for Christmas, so I got him a PS4 Slim. I said, pick out a few games, and one of the games he picked out was Borderlands 2, the Handsome Collection. So I said, back to the grind. I mean, I don't really want to do OP levels. I just want to just chill and grind out loot and just have fun. 2 weeks later, we hit OP8.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, it took us 2 weeks to hit OP8. And since then, we've just been trying to grind out every piece of loot that is needed for end game. So we're planning for like future down the road when we make other characters. He plays Krieg with the Firehawk Grog build, and I play Zero, just kind of like a general forever alone build, basically.
Forever. Yeah.
That's the name of the build. I forget. I think it was Morning Afterkill, who also plays Destiny, but he's mainly a Borderlands channel. But I think he's the one who came up with the build. It's not a melee build and it's not a sniper build. It's like a mix of just fire rate, velocity, just general gun build. So I've been using that. But it took us about 2 weeks to just run through the entire OP levels, and now we're just trying to get loot that we really need for our alts. I think he wants to play Zero next, what I've been playing, and I'm probably going to play either Siren or get my Gunzerker up to OP8. So we'll see. It's just been tons of fun. I've enjoyed myself, and for the most part, I've kind of glad that I had something to hold me over, because for a while I was trying to scratch that itch of my looter shooter, and Destiny
Yeah,
really
and
wasn't
Destiny's
doing it
not
for
doing
me.
it. Yeah.
It really wasn't doing it for me. So now that I've come back to the game, I think I understand it a lot better now, what I need to spec into rather than what I used to spec into and I thought was good. I start to understand the game more as I get older. I feel like that's like a constant theme with me. Like I don't understand the game fully. I'll sit on it for maybe 2-3 years and come back to it, and then I look at it at an entirely different angle, and I feel like I comprehend it a lot better. So
Yeah, I mean, by then you have a different approach and opinion of the game. You come back
yeah,
and maybe you don't want to play it the same way you played it back in the day.
I think I was playing it completely wrong, by the way.
Yeah, that tends to happen with games.
I had this overarching opinion that the game was very, very flimsy at the upper levels, and granted, it is very, very, but a lot of the characters have strengths to counteract that, and I didn't really like put too much stock into that. I just kind of ignored it and said, "Oh, all I need is deeps, all the DPS skills, all like the glass cannon builds that I can push out because I need to put out
Yeah.
damage."
You want a Gunzerk?
I mean, I haven't done that yet, but I'm planning to do that. That's when I'm planning on saving that as my last character, as just one last easy mode. Hoorah.
Easy mode. Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'm either going to go as Siren or I think I'm going to try and get my Commando up. I'm really cringing at that. I really don't want to do it because Commando is really hard to play. Like, you have to play that character really well to do anything. Or just build a TD or build and just chuck guns at stuff, because that's like the best time trial wise for bosses. Surprisingly enough, the Commando is good for bosses, but general mobbing, he struggles without the optimal build. But I think I rambled enough. Borderlands 2 is a great game, and you can pick it up for a pretty cheap price now. If you're interested on having a looter shooter fix, I know we're on a lot of Destiny viewers out there. If you want something to scratch your itch and you're playing on PS4 or Xbox One, pick it up. It's like $20-$30 right now.
And it's constantly on sale.
It's constantly on sale, and it's got all the DLC. I think it's like $100 value from what it was back in 2012 when like the DLC was still fresh and the game was good. And, oh, speaking of which, I went to Walmart yesterday to go pick up a to go get some groceries for like Super Bowl and stuff. Then we're doing a barbecue, and I went to go get a charging cable for my mom because her her iPhone charger, the end of the cord was frayed. I said, I'm not letting you have that. So I went to the store and got that. And I passed by the video game section. Underneath, I think it was like a little like bargain bin, was Borderlands 2, just the base edition, $5.
For just PS3?
Yeah, just like PS3 and Xbox 360. I'm sitting there like, $5. Damn, I'm old. Like, this game came out. I feel old. No.
You should.
Dude, there's going to be a time where that is a retro game.
Oh my God. I mean, not right now because it's on PS4, but yes, like the old base Borderlands 2, it's kind of a retro game, sadly. Weird. Very, very weird.
Time flows, man.
But get the game if you're interested on having a looter shooter to hold you over until Destiny 2. And if you're willing, play the pre-sequel. It's actually not that bad of a game. I know I have hashed on it and I've really just said it's a terrible game, but I've been trying to get back into it. The only thing I have a problem with is the OS kit system, having to manage your oxygen. But I think the game balance-wise is better than 2 at the later levels. And I think the story is infinitely better than Anthony Birch's writing, because Anthony Birch's writing is very questionable. But
I mean, he's a burger, so
yeah, true. Give it a chance. If you want just like everything spitting out loot, like Diablo style, just everything spewing loot, and you're just having fun with your buds, it's not an expensive game to pick up. Like I said, it's $20-$30. So give it a shot.
Hey, John.
Yeah, Nick?
If you're looking for a looter shooter that you could play with me, you could play Mercenary Kings tonight. Do you have that on PC?
I don't have a PC. I mean, I have a poopy laptop, so I don't know if I could even run it.
Dude, it's a sprite-based like 16-bit 2D shooter. You should be able to run laps around that.
We'll see. I mean, this thing's like 2011, 2012 laptop.
No pressure or anything, but would love to have you.
What's the price point on it?
I think it's 15.
Yeah, I'll pick it up maybe.
All right, cool.
I'll think about it. So, Sean, going to you. What have you been playing, fam?
All right. I've actually been playing quite a few things this week. Of course, Destiny. What, Destiny? Yes, you're right.
No.
I have been playing Destiny.
No.
Infinite Warfare? You're correct. I have been playing Infinite Warfare.
Not that.
Advanced Warfare? I don't know how you knew that, but I went back and I did play some Advanced Warfare because I just bought my PS4 Pro a little under a week ago and went ahead and transferred everything over to the Pro. And just went through and started, enjoying the 1 terabyte hard drive space so I can have almost all the games that I've purchased over the past couple of years of owning a PlayStation. And so I went through and I re-downloaded all the CODs. I re-downloaded Black Ops 3. I re-downloaded Ghosts. I re-downloaded Advanced Warfare. I went and re-downloaded Titanfall and Overwatch. And I've just been kind of going through all of those over the past week. And yeah, Advanced Warfare, I gave it another shot. And I'm looking more fondly upon it now than I did back when it initially came out. I can still recognize the problems of the game, but I played it for a couple days, had a bit of fun with it. I was running around with this stupid blunderbuss.
Before you go any further,
It's
I
ridiculous.
just want to tell the stream a story, and I guess the recording as well. I
Do
was
it.
playing with Jordan,
Yes.
who bought Borderlands 2.
No, he didn't.
He's like had the game, right?
No. Okay. Before you tell your story, here's my story.
You bought it, and then he plays it off of your account, right?
Yes. So like for the past year, I've been saying, man, I really need to buy the Handsome collection. Because it's just a good deal. I love the Borderlands franchise, and I haven't really played since Borderlands 2 ages ago, 5-6 years ago.
Which we need to play, by the way.
Maybe we need to get back at it. So I've been trying to convince myself over the past year to buy the Handsome collection. And when I got my PS4 Pro, I was finally like, you know what? Okay, I'll do it. John's been back on it literally every day, and I wouldn't mind going back through and playing it. Plus, I had it on the I had it on the PS3, so you can transfer your save file, which is cool, or you can just start a new one because it doesn't take long to level up at all. Mm-hmm. So I go on to the PS4 Pro after I've downloaded everything else, and I'm in my library, and what do I see sitting there at the bottom of the list? Borderlands: The Handsome Collection, and I'm like, what do you mean? Apparently, I bought it like a year and a half ago and just never downloaded it. I went back through my purchase records, and sure enough, there was the purchase for it like immediately after it first came out, and I just never downloaded it and never played it.
Wait, would this be like we all like conspired to play this game together a while ago? Was
Very possibly. It might have been like one of those, hey, let's all buy this game and play it. And like, okay, well, so we all buy it, and then
we only came up with that idea like maybe last year. Handsome Collection's been out since 2015.
Yeah,
so Sean bought it back then.
I bought it in 2015, never downloaded it, never played it. So I was like, oh, okay, well, rip L.
So why are we all not playing that together?
I would be happy to grind you guys up. So going back to Jordan's story, Sean's brother, he was playing something in his room, and all of a sudden he like heard out of the corner of his like eardrum. He just kind of like, his like ear was just like perking up. He heard this like faint like sergeant's voice, and then he starts walking closer towards the door, and he hears "Elite," and then he gets closer. He goes "Elite," and then he gets up to it and goes "Elite." Sean was sitting there opening up those supply
opening supply drops. Look, okay.
No, Sean didn't bring up them.
I have to clear the record here. Yes, that was me opening supply drops in Advanced Warfare like 2 or 3 days ago. Jay was playing Borderlands. He just heard it from his room. Elite. And no, I didn't buy any supply drops. When I came back on, I had like 30 Elite supply drops saved up from the last time I played that I just never opened, because that game is different than newer CODs. Like, you know how in like Black Ops 3, you can get duplicates of stuff and it'll just auto shard it for you, and you don't really have to worry about inventory space. In Advanced Warfare, they took up inventory space. And if you ran out of inventory space, you couldn't open any more supply drops until you got rid of stuff in your inventory, which was kind of a good system, because the stuff in your inventory, if you didn't, like, say you got a gun, but it's a gun you never used and you didn't want, you could sell it back for EXP, which was a great system. I really wish they would have brought that back for both Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare. I'd love to be able to sell the supply drop and variant weapons that I have that I don't use for salvage or something in Infinite Warfare. That would be the best system that they could possibly have. Mm-hmm. But so I went through and I was just clearing out my inventory, and then I opened up like 30 Elite supply drops until Jordan came in and gave me a death stare like, what are you playing? How dare you re-download this game? Yeah, so that happened. Anyway, I've been playing a little bit of Advanced Warfare, playing a little bit of Ghost. I played a little bit of Black Ops 3. But one game that I really got back into that I'm very happy that I had the chance to re-download now that I've got, hard drive space. Elder Scrolls Online, the console and PC-based MMO. Yeah, I have been absolutely jamming back on that for the past few days. Now, Elder Scrolls Online, very much like Final Fantasy XIV, is an MMO that I bought shortly after its release, and it was terrible.
Yep.
It was, actually,
I bought that too.
You and I played it.
Yeah.
You and I played it. It had the potential for greatness. It had things that it needed to one day become a fantastic MMO. It's an Elder Scrolls game. It plays like a slightly clunkier Elder Scrolls game, which is saying something because Elder Scrolls games are fairly clunky to begin with. But it was just this big, open, boring world with not enough to do, an endless grind to hit level 50. And then once you hit level 50, its system of in-game grinding consisted of a veteran system, which was impossibly long to grind through and required that you do just absolutely stupid things. It was not the greatest MMO on launch.
No,
Not even.
I kept referring to it as getting lost the video game.
Yeah, getting lost the video game because the world spaces are huge in that game. Because it covers a lot of Tamriel, it covers a lot of the Elder Scrolls world, and it didn't have enough in it to keep people going. It was boring ultimately. You'd get lost in a world like I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't know what the main story quest is anymore. I don't know where I am. I'm lost in some weird part of the world where now I'm out leveled by enemies that are 25 levels above me, and I just don't know what's going on, and I'm tired of playing. They fixed some of that over the past couple of years, and they've had several updates since then. And I've just been jamming on it. Last time I played, I got up to level 50. I didn't bother doing any of the veteran rank stuff. But so I jumped back into it. I'm level 50. They revamped the veteran rank into the champion system, which is a much better system, in my opinion. That allows you to continue leveling what's called champion points once you hit level 50. And that's how you reach end game. You can get those champion points from literally doing anything. You want to sit back in an area and grind dungeons, you can. You want to run around and do quests, you can. And you level up fairly quickly until you get into the upper echelons of it. And I got Jay back on it. We've just been running around doing quests. Now, for those of you out there who aren't really into MMOs, this is a very different massively multiplayer online RPG. It is an action RPG of sorts. It plays a lot like Elder Scrolls games do. It's not turn-based. You don't have just like generic set cooldowns or whatever. You can go into battle. It plays like an action game. You can equip sort of whatever weapon you want and just go swinging at things and make your builds based off that. You do have cooldowns and ultimates, but if you want to run in and just be a melee-focused class, you can absolutely do that. And I always thought that was an interesting take on an MMO. And yeah, I have really been jazzed out by that game. I finished the main story a while back, and I'm going through some of the DLC stories right now, which they did something really interesting with DLC. You don't have to be like max level to start off the DLC story. If you guys remember in Final Fantasy XIV and Heavensward, you can't even reach the DLC until you've completed the main story and hit and basically hit max level, right?
Mm-hmm. Or at least the level cap for the DLC.
Yeah, and that was one of our least favorite things about the way the DLC was handled in Final Fantasy XIV.
A lot of quests.
Yeah, it's a lot of quests. It took us like it took us like 200 hours to get everybody leveled up to the point where I was to get to Heavensward. And then after you guys got ahead of me when I stopped playing for a bit, it took like another 15 to 20 hours for me to catch up to you guys. Mm-hmm. It was a lot of work. And thankfully that is not the case when it comes to Elder Scrolls Online.
Have you beaten Nidhogg yet on 14?
Nope.
Oh, well then I'm not as far behind as I thought.
No, not at all, Nate.
I'm still ahead of you.
I stopped all story progress and just started doing other things.
You mean crafting?
Yes, crafting, which is fun.
Yes,
crafting.
I'm so glad that you guys are enjoying crafting because I sure don't.
Yeah,
you were into it for a little bit.
I get really into it when I'm like you and I both started at the same time. We were kind of like neck and neck. Both of us were like able to get the mats for each other's other like classes, and then there just came a point where it's like, okay, your stuff is selling on the market board and mine isn't, and now I can't progress.
We've been over this. You just need to learn how to play the market.
I was playing the same market as you, man.
But you weren't.
You were showing me. You were literally telling me what to sell, and I was selling it. It was just misfortune. Like that's simply all there is to it. Like I'm not necessarily blaming the game. But I mean, like, that I hit that roadblock and then I couldn't do it anymore, which is fine. Like, I'm sure I'm gonna get back into the game and then I'm gonna try it again and maybe I'll have better luck and it'll go better for me. But
just got to put in the effort.
Yeah.
Crafting takes a lot of effort, but it's relaxing. I enjoy doing it. This is why I leveled up, a bunch of crafters years ago, and am just finishing stuff up now. But yeah, Elder Scrolls Online, it's very fun. It's very good. They've changed the way a lot of in-game works so that questing is a lot more rewarding. It's a lot less of a grind. You can legitimately do whatever you want to level up. And getting to max level, you can do that in like 2 to 3 hours now.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, you can get from 1 to 50 in like just a few hours of playing with the way
14?
that they've no, not 14. Elder Scrolls.
Okay,
No.
Ooh,
There is
damn.
no shot you're getting to level 50 and 14 in 2 to 3 hours. No way that's gonna happen. Although they are finally bringing out that item that will instant boost you to 60, which I'm happy about. I'm not mad about them introducing that sort of thing. Whenever you have a game like that locks content behind specific levels, like DLC content, yeah, that's not good. I mean, World of Warcraft learned that lesson a long time ago. It's why they give you an instant boost to 90 and when you start off in WoW. But Elder Scrolls, they've changed a lot of things. It plays a lot better. There's a lot more to do. And they did something really interesting. I got a story for you guys. They did something very interesting with the DLC for that game because there's like 5 DLC packs out for Elder Scrolls. They all add in new world spaces and new quest lines that are going to lead off into a brand new DLC that's coming out later this year titled Morrowind. Sound familiar? In Elder Scrolls Online, you can buy the DLC packs from their Crown store. But if you're an ESO Plus member, which is their premium model, because this game it's not free to play, you buy it and then it's no subscription. You don't have to pay a subscription to play ESO. But if you do pay for their premium subscription, which is, $14-15 a month, you get access to all of the DLC going forward.
Damn, that's really good.
That's amazing.
That's fantastic. I wish Final Fantasy 14 would do that. That would make the $15 a month worth it for Final Fantasy 14. Now, here's the story of my shame. I didn't know that when I came back and started playing a few days ago.
Oh, no.
So I came in, I started playing. I finished up a bunch of quests in the main game. I was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to check out I'm having enough fun because I wanted to play it for a day or two and see if I was enjoying it before I got into the DLC stuff. So I was really enjoying myself. I saw a bunch of new stuff that I wanted to go and do, new dungeons to explore, new cities and new capitals and whatnot. And I was like, you know what? I want to get into that. So let me go ahead and buy this DLC. So I went ahead and I bought the 4 DLC pack for like 5,500 crown points, which is their little internal microtransaction store. I basically spent $40 to buy all the DLC.
Mm-hmm.
And then I looked and read up on the ESO Plus membership because I was like, oh, maybe I should get my Plus membership. What does that get you? Access to all the DLCs for $15.
But now that you purchased the DLC, it's yours forever, right? Like if you ended your Plus subscription, you would have lost access to the DLC, right?
Yeah, but if I ended my Plus subscription, it would have just meant that I'm not playing the game anymore, so I don't need access to the DLC.
I guess that's true.
What do you mean? Oh, so I was a little butt frustrated that I didn't do all of the proper research beforehand and popped $40 buying the DLC packs when I could have and should have just got the ESO Plus membership and enjoyed it from there. You want to know how I found it out?
How?
I bought an ESO Plus membership for Jay.
So he's going to be enjoying all of the DLC.
He wanted a Plus membership. So I was like, oh, you know what? You're on the game. I'll buy you a Plus membership so you can get some of the rewards from that. And so as I'm buying that and I'm reading the benefits of the Plus membership, that's when I realized I should have just bought this. I could have saved myself some money.
Triggered.
Rip. So now he's got a Plus membership and I'm just the sucker who spent $40 on DLC.
That's a shame.
That's
man.
okay, because like I said, I'm really enjoying ESO. As soon as we finish this podcast, I'm probably going to be jumping right back on it. I got to finish up my blacksmithing and get that up to 50 because that's what I do. But yeah, it's a really good game. Now, very quickly, another game that I have been playing is one that just came out for mobile, Fire Emblem Heroes.
No.
I have been playing Fire Emblem Heroes. And you know what? I'm enjoying it. I don't really play a lot of mobile games. Like I'm probably going to pick up Super Mario Run when that comes out on Android, which is going to be a premium title. It's going to be $10. But Fire Emblem Heroes is free to play. It is a Fire Emblem game. It has got a ton of fan service. It's got a lot of fan favorite characters with more to come in the future, all fully voice acted with new artwork and whatnot. And you know what? I'm enjoying it. It's like it plays like a Fire Emblem Light, where it's very similar to the Fire Emblem series. You pick a bunch of teams, but your team consists of 5 heroes that you can pick from a stable of heroes that are available to you that you've either gotten via orb farming or just via playing the game. And you take that team of 5 into like little miniature Fire Emblem chapters, and it plays exactly like you would expect a Fire Emblem game to play. Or it's a tactical RPG where you just move your units around a map and fight enemies and try to beat all the enemies before they beat you. And I'm not too far into it. I've played maybe about 2-3 hours of it, and I'm enjoying it. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
It's good. I hear a lot of people saying that one of the big problems is because all the characters are randomly generated stat wise. People are just starting the game up and then turning it off and then starting it up and then turning it off, trying to get the best stats for their characters.
There is a heavy incentive to reroll. Now, here's the trick: if when you're first starting up the game, it's going to ask you to link your Nintendo Network ID or your Nintendo account. If you don't do that and just save that for later, you can start up the game, and then the game will, when you first start up, it'll award you 17 of these orbs. You utilize these orbs to open sort of supply drop things that will drop new heroes for you. And you're absolutely right. The heroes will drop at varying levels of strength. And sometimes you can get duplicate heroes that are stronger or weaker than the ones you already have. So what people are doing is they are skipping that prompt to link a Nintendo Network ID or a Nintendo account. Because if you take that, you won't be able to re-roll things. They're getting their 17 free orbs. They're rolling to see if they can get high level variants of the heroes that they want. If they don't, then they just clear their data and start over again. And if they do, when they do finally get the heroes that they want, like maybe a 5-star Marth or a 5-star Roy, then that's when they'll link their account and just start off with characters that are way stronger than usual.
That's a shame.
It's a little bit of cheesing going on, but I'm throwing my hands in the air because what are you going to do? That's going to happen anytime you have a game like this.
Yeah. But I'm glad you're enjoying it. Like, I haven't actually tried it myself. It looks interesting. Beautiful.
I'd recommend it, especially if you're a Fire Emblem fan. There's a lot of fan service in this.
There's a lot of Fire Emblem going on right now.
Of course, New Age Fire Emblem. Gotta have a lot of fan service.
And it's going on. It's going along with the other new Fire Emblem games that are coming out. Of course, we have a Switch-based Fire Emblem mainline Fire Emblem game coming out soon. We've got Fire Emblem Warriors, which is going. I hope it's as fan servicey as Hyrule Warriors. I want it to be. Like, please. I want Tharja to just be floating around in a thong, blasting everything. Just look, you know it's gonna happen. If Nintendo was willing to let the kind of fan service that happened in Hyrule Warriors go on with a flagship franchise like Zelda, Fire Emblem's about to be lit, boy.
And they've already done it. Have you played Tokyo Mirage Sessions?
I have watched it. I need to get that game. I hear it's actually really good.
It's pretty good. It's a little shallow, but it's pretty good.
There's a lot of fan service, and there's a lot of fan service in Fire Emblem. And if you want to sit back and listen to your waifus talk in Fire Emblem Heroes for mobile, you can. It's got full voice acting from some. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys an anime test. Take a wild swing at who you think Marth's voice actor is. I guarantee you, Nate, you already know. It's the most obvious thing in the world. He's in everything.
Vic Mignogna?
Almost. You're on the right trail. Almost.
Yuri Lowenthal.
Okay,
yeah.
And Corrin is Cam Clark, Liquid brother. Liquid Snake. Cool. But Fire Emblem Heroes, not bad. I don't play a lot of mobile games, so when I find one that I like, it makes me happy. But that pretty much wraps up what I've been playing this week. You guys got anything else you want to talk about?
I just want to get onto the news, man.
The news, you mean the complaint section?
The complaint section.
Yeah. All right. So we can go ahead and dive on into that. And I wanted to preface this with a question to both you and John. And this has to do with the title of today's episode. The Nintendo Switch honeymoon period is over. And this certainly goes out to the people who are in chat right now, because we are streaming this live, which is cool. I'm glad we're doing this now. But now that sort of some of the hype of the Nintendo Switch press release has died down, I want you guys to pick a few things that you don't like about the Nintendo Switch and discuss them. Do it.
I guess I'll let John go first because
No, you go first. Because I know it's going to be harder for you because
it's really hard for me because I am like 100% Switch.
Nate's on board. 100%.
I'm on board. I guess the lack of like a LAN cable and
That's a thing, yeah.
I guess that's like really it. Like I'm super stoked. I guess the launch lineup is a bit
That's
sparse.
what I was gonna say. It certainly doesn't have to be anything super in depth. Like, oh man, I don't think Nintendo's philosophy here is good. A valid complaint would be, I want more games at launch.
I see some people.
Fine to say.
I see some people or Prometheus in the chat saying battery life, and even that, like,
yeah, that's another one.
I don't even necessarily like, just by the way I play. Like, I feel like if I'm going to be spending more than 3 hours playing a mobile game,
yeah,
then I probably would have had a chance to plug it in somewhere along those 3 hours. You know what I mean? Like, unless I'm going to be in a car for upwards of 3 hours, then... But, I mean, that's just me. That's just... I'm never going to be in that situation. And if I were, I would have bought a battery pack. Or some other such thing. Because it charges with USB mini or whatever. So you
USB-C?
Yeah, you can buy one of those battery packs that you get for, like, your phone or whatever, and that'll give you an extra 5 hours for like $15.
Yeah, I don't even really feel too much of a problem with the battery life. It's gonna last about as long as I was expecting it to. There was no real surprise there.
There's Gary Diaz in the chat saying that it's too large to be a portable, but too weak to be a real home console. The people who have played it at what is it, PAX?
And the Switch events, yeah.
The size of the Switch screen itself is about the same size as a 3DS XL, which fits snugly in your pocket. So as long as you take the Joy-Cons out and put them in your other pocket, you're golden. Like, there are a lot of criticisms, and John and I were talking about this earlier before we started streaming. There are a lot of criticisms that I'm finding counterpoints to very easily to justify the existence of the Switch. Like, they're besides perhaps the small library at launch, I can't think of a single thing that isn't remedied by some other facet of the Switch. Like, I'm on board. I'm all in. Like,
well, I mean, in relation to the launch lineup, what games do we have that are confirmed right now? Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, 1-2 Switch.
Bomberman. Let's Dance or Dance, whatever the Ubisoft Dance game is. And that's it.
Just Dance, yeah.
Yeah, Just Dance. I think there might be like an indie game or two.
Yeah, but those are the main AAA titles.
Yeah, you're gonna be sustained by The Legend of Zelda. And if you're not, then you don't want to Switch at launch.
That's where I was going with this. You're basically buying a Switch at launch to play Zelda. And that's not a bad thing. I love Zelda. It's my favorite game franchise. I mean, shoot, my name is based off of the darn franchise. But it's definitely a weaker launch lineup than we've seen with previous Nintendo consoles. Even with the Wii U. The Wii U had like Assassin's Creed. It had Splinter Cell in the launch period. It had a lighter Mario game, but one of the new Super Mario Brothers games. And
we're also not getting I mean, unless you count 1-2 Switch, like, we're not really getting a Wii Sports-esque where it comes built in with the console.
I mean, that's basically, it's going to be the Wii Sports of the Nintendo Switch. It's the proof of concept game. I don't know if there's any sort of illusionment about what 1-2 Switch actually is. I'm not very happy that they're selling it as a $60 game.
That too.
I haven't seen enough from 1-2 Switch to warrant it being $60. It feels like a game that should be packed with the Switch. And I'm sure there's going to be bundles that do pack it with the Switch for an extra, $50 to $60 on the price tag.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely the launch lineup is a fair thing to critique, because we only know of a few games that are going to be coming out on launch. Now, Nintendo did say, to be fair, they did say that they're going to be announcing other games moving up to the Switch release.
Right.
We haven't really heard anything out of that yet. Hopefully we do sometime soon. They can't keep that under wraps for too much longer. The Switch is only 3-4 weeks away, which is insane, by the way. I can't wait for this thing to come.
So as of yesterday, it would have been what, like 29 days?
However many days are in February.
Let's see. Yeah,
28,
so there's
29 days.
There's 28 days in February, and we're on the 4th. So
So here we go. It's almost time for this thing to be coming out. So they need to solidify that launch window. They have to. I think that's a fair criticism.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of reasons to be upset about the Switch, and I may argue with them, but I don't want to make it seem like I'm invalidating them. Like every consumer is different. So
Yeah.
for one consumer, like it not having a built-in microphone or something, which it does, by the way,
It does.
might be a total I'm not buying that. Or if there's not a Mario Kart at launch, I'm not buying it. And those are all valid. So I just want to preface that before we start, because I'm gonna kind of be the devil's advocate here today.
All right, John, unleash the salvo.
Bring it on, man. I can take it. Let's go.
All right. I don't want too much of an argument from Nate, but that's what it has to come to. That's what it has to come to.
Well, debate is good to foster growth. It's how your ideas grow.
All right. The main point, and this is just a thing with Nintendo for a while, is that they've been living off the success of the Wii, and since then they have been thinking that they can get away with a console that has underperforming hardware and try and appeal to the same casual audience as they did with the Wii. Newsflash, Nintendo, that market is not there anymore. I don't want to say you got lucky, but you providing the Wii at such a good price point in that era where gaming was expensive, the PS3 at launch was ludicrously expensive, and the 360 and the 360's negative publicity with the red ring, you were the de facto console for a good year, and at launch you sold like hotcakes. Actually, I want to say 2 years you were the de facto console because PS4 was so expensive. And 360 had all the negative publicity about red rings and all this other stuff. Oh, the console doesn't last long. And eventually Microsoft did fix that with their new models. Thank God. The old towel trick simply could not keep up.
No, you couldn't keep that thing cool for long.
You really couldn't. So Nintendo for a while benefited from the lack of, actually not lack of, but the choices by Sony and Microsoft. They benefited heavily. They gained a lot of sales, and they gained a lot of revenue too. But since then, they've been under the assumption that they could really push a underperforming hardware, a console with not too expansive of hardware, and appeal to that same audience. Since then, Sony and Microsoft have gotten their act together, relatively. Microsoft and Sony still have their faults, granted. But you yourself have shot yourself in the foot. The Wii U did not sell well, and now you have your second console in this generation. In this generation, you have your second console. That's all I really need to say. And yet you're still making the choice of putting underperforming hardware and giving us the addition of you can take it on the go. I understand that. That is a very neat feature. And to some people that will appeal to them. However, for the people that have been with you for a while, for NES, Super NES, N64, GameCube, we've been sitting here kind of thinking, where's our really core gaming machine that we just want to play home console games on, and we'll leave the mobile market or the portable market to take care of itself? That's kind of where I'm at too. I'm thinking I'm getting a console with not so great hardware for the fact of I can take it on the go. I don't think I'm going to take it on the go. I'll take my 3DS on the go, but a Switch, I'm not thinking I'm going to take it. But to some people, that would be a good niche for people that travel a lot, go to airports a lot, or go on road trips. And like Nate said, you can take a battery pack with you because USB Type-C is very universal nowadays. Very, very universal.
Everything uses it.
Yeah, everything uses it. So it's great that it uses that universal port. That will probably save its portable function for people that really want to use it and need the battery life.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, as a consumer, someone that's been playing Nintendo games since I was a wee lad, to put it frankly, I'm getting up there. I'm getting old. But it just seems like they're trying to cut corners again. I mean, this is a console that's been in development for, I'd say, what, 3-4 years, maybe?
Probably about 3 or 4, maybe 5 years.
Maybe 5 years. They may have been seeing
Like-
this coming with the Wii U and started in like 20. Actually, no, not even 5 years, because the Wii came out, what,
2012, I want to say.
was it? Wow. Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was 2012.
Sheesh. So yeah,
Now-
go ahead.
I was going to say, now here's the thing. It is absolutely fair, in my opinion, to say that the Nintendo was lucky with the Wii.
It was very, very lucky.
It is absolutely fair. They had a perfect storm of opportunity with that console. You're absolutely right, with the floundering of both the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360
And the price point.
Mixed in with a console that came in under a certain price point. I mean, because that was a hot ticket item back when the Wii came out. People were all the big gaming websites were talking about just how ludicrously expensive the PlayStation 3 was. And there was also the controversy of only some of them are backwards compatible. Remember, that was a big issue going on then too. Nintendo's console came out. It was accessible. It had a decent niche, and it provided a weird gimmick that was appealing to people. The gimmick with the Wii is something that everyone can see, even non-gamers, which is why it had such a large install base of people who were in the more casual market. Your mom could come in and understand, oh, hey, you have this stick, you use it as a golf club or a tennis racket. It hit all of these markets that really gaming in its core form had never been able to capture before. It's why the mobile market right now is so big, because it captures an audience that hardcore games weren't really able to fully hold and monetize, especially after the Nintendo Wii. So yeah, I think it's absolutely fair to say that Nintendo was lucky with the Wii. They had a console that came in under market value. It had a couple of really good games on it at launch, plus one really, really good proof of concept game that showed off what the console was for very, very well in Wii Sports. Wii Sports is one of the highest selling games on the Nintendo Wii, and it's basically a tech demo for the system.
And I want to go back to what you said about its launch titles, and it's very, very similar to what the Switch is doing. 1-2 Switch, Wii Sports, Twilight Princess, Breath of the Wild. Very, very similar. 10 years difference, and very similar in terms of their launch titles. But I would say that we had the better launch, or I mean, we haven't even seen the launch of the Switch, but I will probably theorize that the Wii will probably have the better launch of the two. But that's just my opinion. I could be wrong, and I'd be happy to be wrong. Don't get me wrong. But I would be happy if Nintendo sold 1 million units, more than that, like 3 million units in the first 2 weeks if they could keep up that production. Probably not, but
I think they'll hit their marks. I think that they're going to hit their sales.
I think they will hit their sales. But for me as a consumer, now that the honeymoon phase is over, I'm very skeptical about picking one up day one, because it's going to be like my PS4, where it just sits on my shelf for
a while until games come out for it.
Yeah, for a long while until games finally start to trickle out. So it's really hard for me to drop that $300. At least with the PS4 Pro, I'm getting a performing console that I know is going to consistently be able to play games. That already
has an install base on it games.
That already has an install base. Dropping another $300 for Zelda, and then I have to wait for me. Of the games that are currently out, I have to wait another 9 months for Mario.
Yeah,
that's going to be a long time that console's collecting dust after I beat Zelda. And it may take me 2 to 3 months to beat Zelda, but I still have 6 months to wait for Mario. It's like, okay.
There has to be a strong launch lineup of games. And to build on one other point that you made, and I also want to get Nate's opinion on this too. With the Wii, that market base that just exploded there was the casual market base, a market base of players that really wasn't there for previous hardcore iterations of consoles like the PlayStation 2 or the GameCube or anything, or God forbid the Dreamcast. May it forever rest in peace.
Ahead of its time still.
Ahead of its, that was a fantastic.
God rest its VMU.
Oh my God, I still have a working one. It still works. I got to send my homie from Skies of Arcadia out to collect treasure, but
triggered.
But the
Love that
Wii
game.
had it opened up a huge market of casual players that, in my opinion, eventually wound up creating the mobile market of people who are interested in playing, light gaming, but nothing. No, they don't want to drop 2,500 hours in Destiny.
Yeah.
But that market was kind of a flash of fire in the pan. It was there. It was huge. It did really well for the Wii, but it didn't come back for subsequent console iterations. That market didn't come back for the Wii U.
That market went to mobile.
That market went to mobile. That market isn't interested in buying iterative releases of consoles when they can just head to a mobile market full of light games that cater strictly to them that they can get on their phone. And it feels like Nintendo, and I want to get Nate's opinion on this. It feels like after the success of the Wii, Nintendo was counting on that market to come back for their next console with the Wii U. And it didn't happen. And it seems like they might still be hoping and trying to cater to that casual market with the Nintendo Switch. And I'm just not sure if that market's ever going to come back in the way it did for the Wii.
Well, catering makes it seem almost like they're trying to exploit another market. I wouldn't.
No, that's mobile.
Yeah, that's mobile. I largely like Nintendo is trying to approach mobile. It's more so because with the Wii, they put out these we were talking about this earlier. They put out these family friendly games. They really bolstered that idea that the Wii is a family. Nintendo is a family brand that everybody can play Nintendo. It doesn't matter if you're old, you're young, you're bad at games, you're good at games. We've got everything for everybody, and that is, I think, like the core fundamental value behind the Switch. Anybody can play it. You can play it anywhere, at any time, anywhere. And if they just said, like, oh, we're just going to put out Zelda, we're just going to have, your Activision shooters, we're just going to have this, that, and the other thing, and we're not going to put out things like Just Dance and 1-2-Switch, then, like, us core gamers would be happy, but what about all the people that were already invested in Nintendo alongside us during the times of the Nintendo Switch and the 3DS? Like, you gotta remember, they did the same thing with the DS, with things like Brain Age, where, like, turning the DS on its side to do math problems. Like, it's not just the waggle and getting lucky. I mean, Nintendo has just, like, brilliantly, like put gaming forth to everybody. And another argument I wanted to make about the launch lineup is successful consoles don't necessarily need a good launch lineup. Like, I'm frustrated about the launch lineup too, because I'm a consumer. But, like, the 3DS is selling like hotcakes right now, and so is the PS4 and the Xbox One, less so the Xbox One. And they both had atrocious launch lineups.
They did.
The PS3 had an awful launch lineup. It had one of the
other
most...
than Metal Gear Solid 4.
Yeah, well, I mean, they also had... what was that? The Dragon game that was like $599 US dollars, and the giant enemy crab for massive damage. Like,
such a horrifying launch lineup that it literally spawned a meme.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I don't... And granted, I'm not saying how you should spend your $300. I would never say that.
Yeah.
But it's very easy to equate disappointment with a launch with the future of a console. I think that the Switch has a very strong lineup, just not a launch lineup. Like, within the launch window, we've got a couple of really good games, and Zelda is great, but it's not enough. It's not going to hold you over for 3, 6, 9 months while we wait for other games.
True.
But, like, we have Mario Kart, granted a port, Splatoon 2, Mario Odyssey, the return of Bomberman, which, I mean, like, for some people, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but to me, it's a big deal.
That's amazing.
We're getting all kinds of indie games. We're getting like, what, 3 Sonic games? We're getting Sonic Mania, Sonic Project 2017. There's just a ton, and Nintendo is already working with Platinum and Capcom and Sega and, like, everybody on getting games on this thing, we just haven't seen them yet. So it's really easy to be skeptical. I mean, I am. I everybody is. But my point being that I think that the overall value of the Switch outweighs its shortcomings right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do I put this? I think it's got everything it needs to be a core console. And then if people like Granny down the street want to come over and play Wii Bowling on it, they can do that. But
it needs to be accessible.
It's got to be accessible, but it's still like, just look at the controller. Like, and people who have touched the controller and felt it have said, like, this is a quality controller. Even the Switch dock or whatever it is, the controller, the thing you put the Joy-Cons into.
Oh, the Pro?
Not the
Or
Pro.
the grip?
The grip. That's the one. They've said even that, like, feels phenomenal in the hands.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like, it feels like it has absolutely everything it needs, save for maybe the most cutting-edge graphics.
Yeah.
Which, again, like, 3DS plays at, like, what is it, like 320p or something abysmal like that. And
Something like that, yeah.
games sell like crazy on it, like.
Mm-hmm. Because it provides a quality experience and a core experience for handheld.
So long as the game is well made, like 60 FPS and 1080p, awesome. 4K, even better. But if the game behind those amazing specs sucks,
the game behind it is Homefront: The Revolution.
or if the game is just like tedious to play, like you work all day and then you have side projects when you get home, kind of like me. Like, I want to be able to play. I mostly game on my 3DS. That's why I stream 3DS games, because 3DS is like where I'm at right now, and I wouldn't be if I couldn't play it on the go. That's gonna be the Switch for me. Like, I'm gonna be playing it on the go, because I can't take my PS4 where I want to go, right? Like, I can't take my PS4 to work and set it up on my desk. So, but
I mean, it definitely. I'm not arguing that the Switch doesn't provide a specific niche service. Being able to take console level games out wherever you go is fantastic. It's an amazing achievement from Nintendo. And just thinking about being able to take something like Breath of the Wild out with me when I'm just out on the town or something, or whenever I'm flying somewhere, being able to play that on the plane, I am extremely psyched about that. But I do think it is important to talk about some of the shortcomings of the console, because it does have several hardware problems. Onboard memory is still, in my opinion, a massive onboard problem. The price of some of the accessories, still a bit excessive, in my opinion. And that's really what I mean when we're talking about the end of the honeymoon period for the Switch. The console, the base idea for the console is good. It looks like the execution is going to be good, but it does have some real flaws that I do believe are going to cause it problems in the market.
That was the other thing I had a problem with. I can't believe I forgot about it till now, but you just reminded me. The accessories costing upwards of $60 is
ludicrously expensive.
The Pro controller is what, 70, 80?
The Pro controller is like $70, which is more than a DualShock 4 or an Xbox One controller. Not the Elites, just the basic. The dock is like $90, which is insane considering all it does is connect to a TV.
Yep.
That's all the dock does. And then now if that dock has like a secret extra hard drive or something in it, then I could understand it being a $90 accessory. But yeah, the controllers are expensive. The dock is expensive. Like, it feels like a lot of this stuff was cut from the console itself, from coming with the console, in order to keep that price point down underneath. What is this thing? $300?
$299. Yeah, I think
$299, $300. It feels like some of this stuff was cut to keep it underneath $400, which I can understand. But sheesh, you're kind of nickel and diming people there once they buy the console, and then, oh hey, I want to go pick up a Pro controller, $70. I want to pick up an extra dock so that I can have one in each room, $90. What do you need?
At least they're not doing it with mandatory things. Like, PlayStation, you want to have memory for your console? Buy our proprietary memory.
Dude,
doesn't come with it.
The Vita, yeah, that was one of the biggest mistakes of the Vita, in my opinion. And it's sad because the Vita is actually a really great handheld console. It
Hmm.
is a fantastic piece of hardware that just got absolutely demolished because of a lot of terrible decisions that Sony made. And one of the worst was not shipping it with any sort of memory, and then selling proprietary memory for ludicrous prices, like the base memory card for the Hawk. Let's look that up. Memory card, because like when these originally came out, they were like 80-90 bucks
Yep, and for like not a lot, for like 32 gigs.
for like 32 gigs. All right, so I'm looking at a 32 gig card right now. These are going on Amazon for like $72.
That
That's
is insane.
ridiculous when you can go and get a micro SD for like freaking 20, or even less than that in some cases. Yeah, that was Sony's big problem with the Vita. At least for me, I couldn't buy a memory card for it until like several months after I bought the Vita, and then by then it was like, there's nothing to play on it. I don't want this. I'm just going back to my 3DS, which is a good idea because the 3DS is a better handheld. But that's actually something I wanted to bring up with you guys, because of course one of the big issues with the Nintendo Switch is of course its memory and its memory limitations. This thing comes with the base of 32 gigs onboard memory, right?
Yes.
If you buy The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild digitally, you've already lost over a third of your hard drive space. Breath of the Wild is going to be like 12, 13, maybe 14 gigs. It's been confirmed to being around that size. That's already a third of your hard drive space. You're going to have to get expandable memory for this. Like if you plan on playing any sorts of virtual console games, or if you plan on downloading more than one game title, and plus you gotta take into account the patch updates that are going to be coming out for certain games, system updates and whatnot are going to take up a lot of space. You basically have to get extra memory, and we've talked ad nauseum about my personal issues with micro SD cards. There's a lot of market confusion there. Micro SD cards come in lots of different speeds and shapes and sizes. There's 10 different classes of speeds for them, plus a couple of new extra. I think there's a total of 13 different speed classes for micro SD cards now. They're all at different prices. They're all at different hard drive space sizes, and the best ones are like the XC classes that are out right now. Like a 256 gig one is like $150. That's a bit of a problem with memory. And then of course we know this thing can support micro SD card space up to 2 terabytes, which the 2 terabyte micro SDs aren't even out yet. They're supposed to be coming out later this year. A 1 terabyte micro SD card is going to run you like $250. So I have no idea what the 2 terabytes going to be like. But something I wanted to bring up with you guys was, what if Nintendo had their own proprietary memory system, like proprietary memory expansion system like the Vita?
Well, Nintendo would do it right, first of all.
Yeah,
They would not
that's
charge you a gigantic fee. I mean, that was something that baffled me about Sony. Like the whole idea behind proprietary hardware and software is you can make it cheaper than the competition because you know they're buying from the source. Right?
yeah.
Like if Nintendo slapped their name on it, they could charge less for it because they know you're coming to Nintendo and not Sony for a 32 gigabyte card or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And like, I mean, the system should definitely still be compatible with micro SD, since that's the best we're going to get. I'm hoping the dock is going to support external hard drives. That's the only way I could see this moving forward. But I would love it if Nintendo offered their own like official in-house micro SD solution, because I think that would help if they offered like maybe a 500 gigabyte micro SD in-house. I would buy that.
Nintendo has made a SD card in the past. They made one for the Wii. It was like a white one. I think I actually have it over here.
Oh yeah, you're right. They did do
They
that.
partnered with SanDisk. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep, I've got it right here. It's really old. It's dusty and it doesn't work, but that's because I dropped it on the ground and stepped on it once. But anyway, yeah. The Wii or Nintendo has partnered with SanDisk in the past, so it wouldn't be foreign for them to go back to them and be like, "Hey, we partnered with you like 8 years ago. Would you mind doing it again?" Because this came out in like 2009, 2010, so they could definitely
Yeah.
do it if they really wanted to.
And I could see that as an option, because people who are going out there who buy the Switch and are looking to buy memory cards, They might not know the differences between all of the different micro SD card options out there. They might not know that a UHS-1 has a really, really low read and write speed, and you want to get one with you want to get a much higher class of one. And Nintendo offering a first party solution to that, I think I wouldn't be mad at that. I'd be okay with it.
By the way, how are micro 13 speeds compared to regular 10 speeds?
I think they have a faster data because like the 10s have what, a 60 megabyte per second read write speed.
Yeah.
And I think the ones beyond that like breach into 100, 120 and like 150 megabytes per second, which, you know, is faster, but that's
expensive.
They're expensive, and it's like what a normal hard drive these days does.
Mm-hmm.
And still nowhere near what like an SSD or even an SSHD would run.
Yeah.
Those like what you can put in your PlayStation 4, those are talking about data read write rates in like the gigabytes.
Yeah.
4 to 5 gigabytes per second, which is a lot better than what a micro SD is going to be able to provide. And micro SDs are of course more expensive. Oh, relatively speaking.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one of the hardware issues that I'm concerned with for the Switch going forward. And actually, I think that's probably going to be more so than anything else. I think the memory problem is probably going to be the biggest issue with the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
Like the accessories and stuff I can look past. The launch lineup, we know more games are coming, so it's eventually going to have enough to play. Its onboard memory, I think, is going to be probably one of the biggest issues it has to face. Now, certainly I can just go and buy cartridges and just treat it like it's 1998 when I was going around in school with my old school big gray brick Game Boy and like 15 cartridges in the pocket. I can do that. I don't want to do that.
Pockets.
Hey, dude, parachute pants.
Don't debunk my counterpoints till I make them, Sean.
Rip. Oh, well, go ahead. Just pretend I didn't say that.
I was just gonna say, I personally don't see too big of an issue for for you and I, we're gonna shell out the money for the big SD cards. But
I've already got several.
in terms of it being a problem for most consumers, I mean 32 gigabytes is going to be enough to hold a bunch of games. I was saying before, like I know the games on Switch are going to be bigger, but I've got like 4 Pokemon titles, 2 Fire Emblems, 3 Monster Hunters, and God, like a bunch of Harvest Moons and some virtual console games on my 32 gigabyte on my 3DS.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, again, those are 3DS titles. Remember, most 3DS titles are like 1.5 gigs. Only a few go beyond that. Stuff like Monster Hunter and Pokemon reach up to 3, maybe 4 gigabytes. Breath of the Wild alone is 13 gigs.
Right. Well,
that means a 32 gigabyte card is already knocked down to 19 gigs.
For most people, though, they're either if that's an issue, they're either just going to buy the cards, like the physical copy of the game, or they're just going to not buy the giant games on the eShop. Like, what's the point I'm trying to make here? Sorry, there's something going on in my room, and I'm trying to keep it from becoming a disaster. You can either buy the physical copies, or you can just buy an expansion and then delete the games off your console as they become irrelevant.
Now, here's the problem with that. The average consumer is going to hate having to do that just to play games. Remember, we're the enthusiasts. The average consumer is going to hate the fact that this thing has only got 32 gigs of memory. They're going to hate the fact they have to buy a micro SD, and they're going to hate the fact that when they've downloaded 2 or 3 games, they have to delete one to get the next one. That's the big problem here. You have to make this relate to the average consumer who doesn't care about, oh, well, these games are gonna, they're gonna be Nintendo quality. They don't care that these games, oh man, well, I can carry this thing on the go. They're going to want what they want right then and there, and I'm not sure that's going to go over well with them.
I would say that the average consumer doesn't care enough that they would just get rid of a game once it's done being played. Like,
you think so?
Like, that is if they weren't going to trade it into GameStop, the physical version. You know what I mean? Like, GameStop still has like a big...
Which, by the way, this particular problem might save GameStop.
Yeah, I know, right?
People might have to buy cartridges and they'll just go and trading them in. This is a GameStop conspiracy.
I'm gonna make my point real quick, and then I have to excuse myself.
Of course.
Okay, it's fine. I think the physical copies are more appealing now than ever. That they're really small. I mean, you can swap them out real quick. They don't make any noise. It's not like the UMDs where they were tiny, compact discs, and you could take them on the go, but they were still kind of big and they were loud. So I don't think buying the cartridges is going to be a problem. I think casual consumers are going to buy the cartridges because they can trade them in, and I also think that casual consumers, once they're done with the game, they're done. Like, they're not going to go back, and they're not going to speed run it, and they're not going to perfect
Very
it.
possible.
So removing the game from their console, I think anyway, is probably not going to be a problem. The problem is going to be, like you said, where buying SD cards is kind of a hassle because you don't know what you're getting on an SD card. You could be getting really fast read-write speeds and low memory, or super high memory and low read-write speeds. So
there's a lot of market confusion there.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem, and unfortunately that's kind of out of Nintendo's hands. Like, they could have made it a proprietary card, but, like, at the same time, a lot of people have already bought SD cards for their phones, or for their 3DS, or for just their computer, or whatever. It's much easier to go out and grab an SD card than it is to, say, go to GameStop, find out they're out of Nintendo cards, wait 2 weeks, they still don't have it, buy it on Amazon.
Mm-hmm. And it's not to say there's really not much else they could have done with the way the Switch is designed. There aren't that many other hardware options that would have worked with how thin the Switch is. Like micro SD, I can't think of any other, unless they would have made the Switch bigger so that you could fit like a hard drive into it, which would have caused other issues like power drain and whatnot. I don't know if they had any other option besides micro SD. Or aside from making a new proprietary system,
or just giving it a support like a HDD or something, like just like a USB,
like a laptop size 2.5 inch.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. But it would, the Switch itself would have had to have been bigger.
Mm-hmm.
The Switch would have had to have been bigger, and it would get hot. Like the way that the Switch is meant to work right now is so that it's not going to run hot. There's not going to be a lot of fan usage. It's engineered in such a way that all the parts work together, which is something else that I think a lot of people just overlook. Like, they could have made the graphics prettier, but then you'd be carrying around a brick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They could have made the battery bigger, but then, it's going to burn hot, and you're going to be carrying around a big brick.
There's all sorts of power drain problems there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, it's going to be an interesting challenge that Nintendo is going to have to face going forward. It's certainly not a deal breaker for me. Like, I'm still going to be getting the Switch and carrying it around. If nothing else, I'll probably just have to go back to buying cartridges and utilize my micro SDs for virtual console space. Like, I'm hoping we get N64 and maybe GameCube virtual console with this thing. That's still one of the lingering rumors, and we'll just have to see how it's handled moving forward. This thing, Nintendo's got a habit of supporting external hard drives right out the box. So this thing is probably going to support, at least while docked, an external hard drive. And that's probably what I'll splooge for. Get a 4 terabyte external hard drive and hook that up and have all my games on there.
By the way, I also have a 1 terabyte external hard drive for my Wii U. I've never come close to filling it, and I buy all of my games digitally.
Yeah.
Like, every single one. Nintendo is also a company that understands compression, and making big bloated games isn't necessarily the best. Like, there are some games that I see that are like, it's a 41 gig install. Like,
yeah, nothing Nintendo puts out is on the level of, say, like Destiny right now on PS4, which is like 50 gigs for the base game plus 40 gigs for the DLC.
Right. I don't think Nintendo's ever going to make anything. Not that they're incapable of making large memory requiring games. I think it's more so they make the game with the memory limit in mind, and they've always been amazing at compressing.
They have to.
Yeah,
with the Switch, they're gonna have to do that.
Especially, I think if anybody is qualified to make a console like the Switch, it's Nintendo. Like, if Sony had tried to,
absolutely.
Like,
Nobody
speaking
else would dare make something like this. And
speaking
that's
of
why I
that,
think Nintendo can succeed with it.
speaking of that 32 gigabyte card that I bought for the Vita, you know how many games I was able to fit on that? Like
How many?
3.
Yeah.
I was able to put like 3 games on the Vita, and that was like Disgaea
Most of
1,
that's
Disgaea
taken up by
2,
like Uncharted, huh?
and the Danganronpa games. I had to keep deleting 1 or 2 off of it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like I said, I've got like 8 million games on my 3DS. Hang on, I've got like I'll open it right now. I've got like 3 pages worth of games, and I've got it at the smallest. Let's see. So on each page there are 9, 12, 15 games. So I've
Okay.
got 4 pages worth of 15 games.
So you got 60 games on there.
Yep.
Right on.
Some of them are virtual console games, mind, but like,
Yeah, which like Super Mario Brothers is like 42 kilobytes.
but I mean, I've got like these crazy huge games like Hyrule Warriors Legends on here.
Yeah, I think that's about 3 gigs, I want to say.
Mm-hmm. So,
which is one of the larger 3DS titles.
I mean, obviously we can't know for certain until we try it, but I want to say memory's not going to be an issue for most people. For people like us, we're gonna buy everything Nintendo makes and give them all the money that we can. But
Well, and again,
all the
I'm
money we
basing
don't
that-
want to spend.
Again, I'm basing that off of Breath of the Wild, which is going to be a launch title and is 13 gigs,
Mm-hmm.
which is very, very large.
Yeah, and that's not even going to be the end of it. Like patches,
Mm-hmm.
DLC,
updates,
God forbid.
DLC.
Yeah.
Oh god,
So.
DLC for a Zelda game. Oh, please,
Pretty please.
Miyamoto, please. I'll take that.
Just give me a
But
dream
alright.
sequence where we go back to the map from Ocarina of Time. Do it.
I'll take that. Yeah, I'll take it. But okay, I think we've harped on enough about that. John, you got anything else to say about it?
No.
Do it. Yes, you do.
No.
There
Yes,
is
you
a
do.
fishbone in the back of your throat.
Do it.
Get it out, man.
Do it
I'm good.
right now. Do it.
I'm pretty good right now, actually.
Have both of you ordered your Switches yet? I know, Nate, you have.
I had to go to GameStop to get mine.
You filthy commoner.
I know.
Well, you're better than me. I still haven't pre-ordered one.
Oh, really? That's a shame.
Still waiting. I missed my opportunity on day one, but I'm still waiting to get in on that. Well, all right. I think we've harped enough about some of our concerns. Now that we're a couple of weeks in, we're a few weeks away from the Nintendo Switch. We're a few weeks removed from the Switch presentation, so the hype has died down a bit. We can talk. We can talk in a candid way about some of our concerns with the system, and I think it's a healthy thing to do. Now let's move on to some of the news articles for today, and we're going to very quickly go through these because we're like over an hour here.
Yeah.
And over an hour of good conversation, man. So all right, let's move on. Do you have the news stories up?
They're on the itinerary. There's not much, but yeah.
You want to start with
I mean,
PS4?
do it. Go. You already started. Talk about it.
No, you talk about it. I'm
No, you.
managing the stream. I got nothing to talk about.
Fine. The
Small.
PS4 has plans in a future update to add external HDD support, which is something that
Yay!
a long while.
Yeah, something Nintendo had, at launch with the Wii U.
Yeah. So in a future update, you will be able to plug in a USB 3.0 into your console and be able to, I guess, store your applications and data as such, which is something that the console was needed for a long while. Also,
I was just going to say, I didn't even realize that the PlayStation 4 didn't have external hard drive support until I read this story. And it's like, really? Why would you not?
You have to replace the internal.
Like that's spoopy. I don't like that.
Yep. Also, PlayStation plans to do with their Pro, they plan to put out a new boost mode. It'll be under system settings, and it will attempt to upscale older games that were released before the Pro. It will attempt to run higher frame rates, and it will sometimes do spoopy things. According to the feature in like text under the feature, it says, if you experience any oddities while gaming, please turn off this feature or something if you use it on older titles. So it's going to be trying to upscale these older games using the boost mode and run them much more efficiently for the console. So that's new. Anything you'd like to say on that, Sean?
I mean, cool. I don't understand how it's going to have how it's going to have an effect on
frame rate. Yeah,
on frame rate. That's going to be interesting to try to figure out. But I'll take it.
Can you imagine Destiny 60 with boost mode?
Don't say stuff like that because it's not going to happen, and you're just going to make me sad.
On the Microsoft end of things, there have been some issues that have been fixed. The Ubisoft Club app would start, and then it would automatically scroll down, preventing you from scrolling back up if you were using it. And EA Access would indicate that you were a subscriber. It would indicate that you were not a subscriber when you were, and it would like screw with some features while you're using that app. It wouldn't affect your ability to download or play games from the vault, but it would screw up some features that you'll be doing. But that got patched, so good, because those applications are already screwy by themselves.
Excellent. Wonderful. Yeah. I'm glad they got that fixed. And for our last big story of the day, Nintendo Portugal done screwed up, boys. All right, so earlier this week, Nintendo's official Nintendo Portugal YouTube channel. It's their YouTube channel where they put out videos in Portuguese. Or actually, what language do they speak in Portugal?
Portuguese.
Portuguese.
I think it's a Spanish language.
Portuguese.
Anyway, doesn't matter. They put out a video that had a bit of a mistake in it. Now, if you don't know, the way a lot of these presentation videos for video games work, especially for the Nintendo Switch, when you see people playing the Switch in the video, they're not actually playing anything. It's not actual gameplay going on. Those are very often just dummy units that don't have screens, or just a unit that's turned off, and they superimpose the gameplay onto the screens. Well, unfortunately, Nintendo Portugal accidentally put out the wrong video. They put out the unedited video that didn't have the superimposed gameplay footage. And what this showed off was, in a couple of scenes, a Nintendo Switch that was turned on but did not have any gameplay going. So it was just sitting on the dev menu, showing off some things that we assumedly were not supposed to see. We got to see what the Nintendo dev menu looked like. We got to see a couple of things like the hardware program IDs. We got to see that on these dev units, they actually have built-in 64 gigs of memory rather than the 32 gigs that the consumer version is going to get, and about 8 gigs of RAM. The 8 gigs of RAM is very interesting because that's like PS4 level. But I thought this was interesting. We got a couple of screenshots of it. I don't know if you're going to put it up on the screen, Nate. Oh, you are. Excellent. Beautiful. Just like that. Beautiful. Just scroll through them. There's quite a few pictures there. Now, thankfully, nothing too big was shown off. Like, we didn't get to see the debug menu, so no hardware keys or signing keys were shown off there, because that would probably have wound up in like a day one hack for the Switch. Would have been rest in peace, Nintendo Portugal. But that was interesting. We got to see what a dev console looked like. Neat stuff. Yeah, just like that, Nate. It was cool. This video was, of course, very quickly taken down from the Nintendo Portugal channel, as you would imagine, but not before people grabbed screenshots, which is what you should be seeing on the screen right now if you're watching this live. Kind of an unfortunate happening for Nintendo, but it gives you that rare peek behind the curtain of what's going on with these consoles right now. You can see there's a couple of tabs on there: application, save data, controller setup, account setup, device IDs, network IDs, very important stuff there, sound, time test, debug, and firmware. Mm-hmm. It's just neat to see that the dev consoles have more onboard memory than the consumer release, although that's very likely the case because it has dev software on it. Needs that extra space to run stuff, to run tests like while games are playing and whatnot.
My favorite bit is the the couple playing 1-2 switch to the dev menu.
And it's just a dev menu, and that's what they're doing. They're playing 1-2 switch on a dev menu, or the people who are sitting around a table, like supposedly watching it, and it's just a blank screen.
I like to imagine there's someone off screen holding a gun to their heads, like, look entertained.
Yeah. Rip to them. But anyways, so that's what happened. We got to get a quick look at the dev menu for the Nintendo Switch. and somebody at the YouTube channel probably got fired.
Yep. Rip that
Like,
guy.
They got nuked from orbit, as John was saying before the stream.
Yep.
He's hanging out with the translator from
Oh no, that poor guy. That wasn't even his fault. It wasn't the guy from the Nintendo Switch presentation for Suda. That wasn't even his fault. Like, did you guys read the threads that came out afterwards of people who were people who speak Japanese who were translating what Suda was actually saying?
He was saying garbly-gook.
Like, he was just he was speaking in like unknown memes. Like, he was just talking a bunch of garbage, a bunch of nonsense.
So the guy had to like improvise on the spot.
The guy had to improvise what the message was and try to figure and just basically try to make up something to tell you. I felt so bad for that guy. Rip to him, because yeah, he probably got nuked. But all right, I think that's pretty much everything we had on deck for today, isn't it?
I think so.
Right on.
It's been a good podcast.
Been a good thing. We got to discuss quite a few things in this week's episode, and I'm glad with the way it went. We're a month away from the launch of the Nintendo Switch, man. I am still ready to get it. I'm hoping I can get my hands on a pre-order copy before it comes out, because I don't want to have to deal with that again like I did with the Wii, where I just had to go from store to store to store until I could finally find one place that actually had it. Hopefully that's not going to be the case with the Nintendo Switch this time around. But all right, everybody, that's it for episode 33 of the End of the Week podcast. Before we get on out of here, we're going to let you know where you can find us on our personal channels to see what we're doing in our everyday life. Nate, what you got going on?
You can find me on YouTube as HuntArtist. You can also find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/HuntArtist. And if you want updates on when I stream, you can follow me at Nate_Donahue. That's DONAHUE. And that's it. Right now we're playing Mercenary Kings. Woohoo!
Are you gonna do? Are you gonna do
The Thing?
The Thing?
Maybe. Probably. Almost undoubtedly.
You gonna give people the Resident Evil?
I'm gonna.
Good. I'll watch it. You need to beat that so that I can watch you cry. And then like think about going for like Madhouse mode, and then I can watch you cry more. Cry more.
Hey man, I've already beaten 2 of those people, so I'm ready for my 3rd. Let's go.
Give them hands. Right on. I'll take that. John, what you got going on, man?
You can follow me on Twitter at Big Smokes Order, and I'll be forever posting Big Smokes Order perpetually for the next like 6 months.
Constantly. I'll take that. We take those here. Right on. And of course, you all can find me over on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube, all at TheBlackLink. We do hold streams on Twitch and YouTube on my channel, and on the Planet Destiny channel for them, doing big stuff in the world of Destiny and in other games. I'm probably going to get some Elder Scrolls Online streams going up soon. I didn't want to stream until I had gotten my hands back in the game, and I think I'm at about that point, just running through quests and whatnot. It's some interesting stuff, you know. It's fun to play, fun to stream. In the coming week, there's actually not, if you guys are Destiny fans, there's not going to be a Planet Destiny podcast tomorrow. We decided to hold off until next week because we don't want to go up against the Super Bowl. There's too many people watching it and hosting parties and whatnot, including me. So we're just going to skip out on that. We'll be back with the Planet Destiny podcast next week, but all the same usual streams, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays right here on the channel you're watching this stream on right now, probably over on YouTube. We do host live streams. It's going to be a ton of fun. Love catching your faces there, and that's where my stuff can be found. But all right, that's going to be it for episode 33 of the End of the Week podcast. The Nintendo Switch honeymoon is officially over, but we'll probably get back to you next week with how much we love the console.
I was going to say, there's only about a month left until the Switch comes out, and it's probably going to be about that long until another podcast comes out. So we'll see you then. It's probably going to
be about that long, because we won't have anything to talk about until the Switch comes out, and then even then, it's probably going to be just Zelda.
This podcast is kind of like a time capsule. You know, you bury it underground, a couple months later, you dig it up, have some fun.
Question: why you buried it in the first place?
How did you bury audio? How did you do that?
Then you question why you dug it up. I don't want this.
You just got to throw it away. That's our podcast, everybody. Just throw it away.
Just take it, throw it to the wind, and maybe someday it'll come back with another episode.
Please don't. Please continue. We love everybody.
These breezes. But all right, guys, that's it for this one. Thanks so much for listening to the End of the Week podcast, where every day is the end of the week. We'll catch you guys in the next one.
See ya.
Deuces.